So Reaper, how did the review with the O5 Council go?
It went great. The O5 Council agreed to change my SCP class from Keter to Euclid. Moreover, they decided that I would be allowed to leave containment once I prove that I'm no longer a danger to anyone.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that.
Agent Shadow, may I ask you something?
Of course. And please, call me Lauren.
Very well, Lauren. You've implied that you've seen the effects of the Darkest Days potion yourself. May I ask what happened?
Back in February, Valen Hemlock got SCP-106 to use Darkest Days on me. What this potion does is hypnotize you into thinking you're your worst past life. In my case, I thought I was Bloody Cornelius.
No way. You were Bloody Cornelius in a past life? I've heard stories about him since I became a demonoid. That guy was an absolute monster.
Yeah, can't say I blame him after what happened to the poor guy.
What do you mean by that?
Wait, you don't know?
No, what? Is there more to the story?
Have you ever wondered why Bloody Cornelius targeted priests and nuns exclusively?
Wasn't it because Bloody Cornelius believed that sacrificing men and women of God would improve his status as a Satanist or something?
People who think that's why Bloody Cornelius did what he did only heard the church's version of the story. The church deliberately tried to rewrite history because a man of the cloth did something to offend both God and Satan. Cornelius was born in a small village of Satanists in 1246. His father was the high priest and leader of that village. Cornelius's father was a wise man who was genuinely devoted to Satan and his village. Unlike today's posers who are edgy and violent, he taught his people individualism and rebellion against tyranny. The village was hidden in the deepest part of a forest in Europe. The Satanists purposefully built their home in the most secluded place to protect themselves from religious persecution. For years, Cornelius lived a life of genuine love and peace. That was until something no one could have anticipated happened. One day, the villagers reported seeing an angel scouting the area surrounding their home. To some, that doesn't sound bad at all. But to Cornelius and his village, the sighting was concerning because interactions between the holy and unholy always involve at least some tension. Now, one thing you need to understand about Cornelius's village is that it was a very peaceful community. No one from that village had ever done anything harmful because they didn't believe in hurting others. That being said, neither Cornelius nor his father had any reason to worry. That was until the night after the angel sighting. That night, the village was invaded by the Knights Templar. The Knights massacred the entire population and burned their homes to the ground. To preserve their practices, Cornelius was given the family staff and spellbook and escaped with his father's help. Cornelius wanted to save his father from the Knights Templar, but he understood that time was not on his side. With a heavy heart, he'd left everyone behind with his father's staff and spellbook. Because the village was in a dense part of the woods, Cornelius was able to escape the Knights Templar with ease. However, the same couldn't be said for the other villagers nor his father. The Knights Templar had destroyed the entire village, leaving no survivors. From the trees, Cornelius watched helplessly as everyone and everything he'd held dear was annihilated by those who claimed to be protectors. One would think that Cornelius decided to fulfill his father's last request and rebuild their community. But what no one realized was that the pain of having everything ripped away from him ignited a darkness in his heart, one that would set him on the path of vengeance and bloodshed. With the help of his demon army, Cornelius captured one of the men from the Knights Templar. He demanded to know how they'd found his village and why they'd invaded it. It wasn't until Cornelius resorted to torture that he managed to get the truth out of the knight. It came out that one of the members of the church wielded a staff similar to Cornelius's. But rather than summon demons, this one summoned angels. The angel who was spotted before the invasion was actually a scout sent by the wielder to search for anyone worshipping Satan. When the angel found Cornelius's village, he'd told the wielder, who then planned the attack that followed. But when questioned on who that person was, the knight refused to answer, saying that the wielder's identity must stay hidden for their protection. From that moment on, Cornelius made it his life's mission to find the angel summoning staff and the person who destroyed his home. With every member of the clergy he'd captured, Cornelius interrogated them, demanding to know who was behind the destruction of his village and where their staff was. But no matter who he captured or what he'd done to them, Cornelius was stonewalled every time. What Cornelius failed to realize was that by torturing men and women of the cloth, he was dishonoring Satan by using his magic to harm innocent people. When he died, Cornelius was sentenced to spend eternity in Judea. The truth of what happened to Cornelius's village came out years after his execution. Cardinal Seal, the man who'd executed Cornelius, was on his deathbed when he confessed to wielding the angel summoning staff and orchestrating the invasion of Cornelius's village. But instead of showing remorse, that asshole had the nerve to act self-righteous, claiming that the villagers deserved death for worshipping Satan. After his death, Cardinal Seal was deemed a hero by the church and his staff was named the Staff of Cardinal Seal in his honor. Over the years, the church maintained that Cardinal Seal did the right thing and that the village was full of evil cultists. But in reality, those villagers were slaughtered not because they did anything wrong but because they worshipped a different god.
Holy! I knew religious persecution from the time was bad, but slaughtering an entire village over differences in religious beliefs? I know I was evil in the past, but at least I never targeted people over that.
The only reason some people know the truth is that Cornelius's story had spread through the underworld. Occultists who'd communicated with spirits caught wind of what really happened and began sharing the story with the rest of the magic community. Yet somehow, people still believe the church's version of events.
Quick question. Where are the magic staffs and spellbook now?
An evil witch named Valen Hemlock has the staff of Bloody Cornelius. Thankfully, she can't use it because the staff is enchanted to only work if used by a wielder chosen by Satan himself. As for the spellbook and staff of Cardinal Seal, the spellbook was lost and the staff is currently held in the Apostolic Palace in Vatican City. Some believe that it's because God only allows the Pope to use it. But if you ask me, I think it's because deep down, the church is afraid that someone would use it for evil like Cardinal Seal did. The SCP Foundation has pursued the staff of Cardinal Seal in the past, but the Vatican asked them to leave it alone as it's a holy relic. Since the staff was no longer a danger and the Foundation didn't want to risk offending an entire religion, we decided to respect the Vatican's wishes.
I'm sorry that happened to you in a past life, Lauren. Even though it doesn't justify what Bloody Cornelius had done, it does explain everything.
Thanks, Reaper. That means a lot.
I don't know about this, Lauren. What if Black Hat finds out that we're sabotaging one of his clients?
He won't. I've been doing this for years and he still hasn't figured it out.